All right, perfect. There are a lot of new people in here that I actually don't know. So it's nice to meet you guys. My name's Austin, and I'm excited to go over like prospecting because prospecting is kind of what provides you your leads, which leads are like gas for your car. Leads are gasoline for your business. If you don't have leads, you don't have the opportunity to run or operate your business. So, how do you move the slides? There we go. Okay.
Yes, and then now you can use the clicker.
Oh, okay. So these,
Yeah.
okay. So what we're going to go over today is how to grow your business, lead generate for buyers and sellers, set our listing presentations to get listings, make buyer presentations to get listings, preview real estate, running your business, how to market to seller listings, show buyer houses, negotiate contracts, transaction management, vendor management, setting goals, compliance, all of that fun stuff. So what is prospecting? Anybody want to take a stab at it? Go ahead. Get one of the microphones. Thank you. Which one's going to go first?
It has to do with kind of searching for your leads more like hands-on, like an open house or something that may be free or close to free, but requires more work versus paying for marketing. That's more passive, but
Right.
costs more.
Very true.
Yeah, I was going to say searching as well. It's the physical aspect of looking for a lead using different techniques, whether it is on a CRS or walking door to door or doing the open houses like she said.
Okay. So we're going to go over different prospecting methods today too, because there are a lot of different ways that you can generate business for yourselves. Like I said, without generating any leads, you have no business. This is the first fundamental to getting yourself started in the right direction to grow your own business. There we go. So we need to understand that prospecting is a form of lead generation. We're going to dive deep into this here in the next couple pages. Let me just look over this again real quick. Okay, so this page right here, this is the funnel for prospecting and marketing. So when we're prospecting, prospecting can be anybody and everybody that you can add to your database. We have to have emails, phone numbers, addresses, all of this information so that we can constantly be feeding information to anybody that we've come in contact with to try to get them to generate into business for us. So what are some ways that you guys can think of, aside from like the obvious ones, to generate or prospect for business?
Going places.
Got a microphone?
You can prospect by going places with your logo or your name tag and just being present and talking to people who happen to be in the same place at the same time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody else?
You can prospect by cold calling, you can prospect by door knocking, you can prospect through social media, you can prospect through every conversation that you have in every gas station, restaurant, way that anybody that you come into contact with is a potential client in this business.
That's exactly it. Most of my business in the beginning was all cold calling. and I still cold call a lot because it's like the foundation for like what I've been able to find the most leads through. But the longer that I have been doing this, now it's like if I like the other day I go into Panera Bread, I order a sandwich. She's like, "Well, it looks like you're going to be working." I was like, "Yeah, I sell real estate." She's like, "I just moved here a year ago. I've been renting. My lease is up in 6 months. I need to look into getting approved so that we can, purchase a house." That's free business. And I mean, I'm getting that without having to put forth a lot of effort. And so there's so many different avenues, just like you said, through having conversations with people, seeing people in gas stations, seeing people at restaurants, all these different ways that you can just procure business. So through this funnel that we've got here, the more contacts that you guys are bringing into your CRM. Command, is everybody familiar with Command and utilizing it to some degree? Okay. That is super crucial to constantly pump people into Command because like it says here, you've captured their information. So like when I get the contact from the lady at Panera Bread, I put her in my CRM because honestly, I'm going to forget to call her if I don't put a reminder in Command. I have to track all of the people that are going in and out of my database so that I constantly know who I've been in touch with and who I've not been in touch with, because fortune is in the follow-up. If I take her information and I do nothing with it, that's a lead lost. And that means that I am not going to get paid. I would like to get paid. Everybody would. So we have to be able to track all of these people that we're bringing into our system. Contacts. If you don't have contacts in there, you don't have anything to offer to anybody. The whole point when you're bringing in all of these contacts and leads, what can I offer them so that they'll work with me? What can I be doing constantly showing them? What tips can I be giving them? Have I got them in touch with a lender? Have I sent them a reminder, about, oh, hey, we've got this going on. Love to see you come by. I've got to have something to offer these people so that they want to do business with me. Once they start reaching back out to you, now we can really start cultivating with these people. I can really start getting specific with what I want to offer them. If it's a buyer or a seller. Sellers are a little bit harder to convert than a buyer generally because they want somebody that's going to be able to get that house sold. So I've got to have a pretty, especially in a competitive market, I've got to have a pretty compelling offer to give to these sellers so that they see the value that I have. Because there's so many people that just think because the market's hot, I can list as a for sale by owner and my house will sell. Most likely they can, truth be told. But what value can I give that seller aside from just selling the house? How can I protect them when we get to the inspection period? I've got to make sure they know that I am going to be able to protect them from spending a whole bunch of money in repairs. Because as a for sale by owner, you don't have a buffer there. You're dealing directly with that buyer. Most people who are selling their houses, they've bought or sold one or two before. They understand that they're going to have to do the inspections, but they don't understand how nitpicky people can get. I have to show them my value so they know that I'm going to be there to be that buffer. Does that make sense? Any little thing that I can do to give them that value, I have to communicate that to them. That way they know. Once we've got them to cultivate and we know what their needs are, set that appointment, get them active on the market or start showing them properties, get them under contract, and we close. The system is really pretty easy to follow. And I know that when I first started, and I've been hearing about, well, you have to have all these leads and you have to have all of these contacts. It's overwhelming because it's like you're trying to take in everything in the beginning. And it's like, how do I bring on all of this additional stuff? This is really easy stuff. It seems overwhelming, but if you just follow the system with every person that you come in contact with, over time, it starts to compound. Because you may meet somebody today that could be a year out from buying or selling a home. But if you stay in contact with that person and you just kind of become their friend, love on them, get them on Facebook, comment on their coffee picture, their breakfast pictures, their photos of their ugly dog. Like, you have to stay in touch with these people, because when they are ready to buy or sell, who's the first person they're going to think of? Hopefully you, because you've talked to them about their little dog and you've talked about their family vacation with them. That's the things that people seek. People do business with people they like, know, and trust. When I first meet clients, they probably don't like me because they think I'm a salesman trying to get their business, which is true. They probably don't trust me because they don't know me. So I have to build that with them. And sometimes it takes time to do that. But if you follow this system to a T, over time, these people will compound. Then they start sending you referrals. That's when the business starts to really pick up. Okay. So this here, one is your message. When you're prospecting to people, what are you telling them? What type of message are you conveying? Because if you don't really have anything compelling to say, are they going to listen? Think about, and I may butcher this analogy, but how Apple communicates their message to their people. I think, I forget the guy's name, Simon Sinek. Is anybody familiar with Simon Sinek? If Apple were to say, hey, we're Apple, we build and we sell computers, you should buy our product. Are you probably going to buy it? Nothing compelling about that. But Apple markets in a way where they say, hello, we're Apple. We build the most powerful, compelling computer machine that you can purchase in today's market to make your job, your creativity job, easier, give you back more time to spend with your family, make all of the processes in your business easier. The price is $9.99. Would you like to buy one? That's a much more compelling offer. Same thing with real estate. If we're not presenting our message to people in a way that is compelling, are they going to convert? Are they going to listen to what we have to say? No. So we have to create a really solid offer, but we have to match that to our market. I kind of went to 2 before I went to 1. We have to understand the market that we're in so that we can effectively communicate what our message is to people. If we don't understand what's going on in our market from a day-to-day basis, how can they trust us? How can they trust us with the biggest investment that most people are going to make in their lives? We have to know what's going on every day, every morning. Sometimes when I'm in bed too, on my cell phone, I look at the hot sheet. I look at what's came on the market. I look at what's pending. I look at what's expired. I look at what's canceled, because that tells me what's going on in the market. Especially when you've got clients that are asking, well, hey, I'm thinking about selling this $500,000 house. What's my competition look like? Let me pull up on my phone. They're immediately going to lose trust in what you have to say because you have to pull it up. I would be willing to bet if we were competing in a listing appointment and you had to pull up the data and I didn't, they're going to list with me because I spit it out and I know it. So if somebody's asking me a question, hey, I want to sell this $500,000 house. What's our average days on market for a $500,000 house? They want to know those things. I know that right now, $500,000 houses, they're selling under 30 days. Yes, it's a little bit less competition, but most of them are selling in under 30 days. Here's my marketing that I'm going to do so that we can try to get it sold in 2 weeks. Just figuring out where our market is, what can I do to show you I'm going to do my best to get it sold or get you the best deal if we're talking to a buyer. How can I get my buyer the best deal? Which right now is tough. And I get that. Buyers are having to do some crazy things to win offers right now. So it's a little bit different message for buyers, but for sellers, what can I provide you? How can I help? I have to know what's going on in the market. Who are we targeting? If you're targeting sellers, which everybody should be targeting sellers first and foremost. Leads, listings, and leverages are 3 L's. Those, the leads and the leverage come from listings. If you're not prospecting for listings, you guys are in this for, you're going to be running crazy working for buyers. And there's nothing wrong with that if you love working for buyers. Jen Davis, Carrie Worst both love the buy side. It just depends on what your mentality is. But with that, you have to be able to get that leverage through listings. In that target audience, what listing price point do you want to target? This goes to working smarter, not harder. I personally want to target higher end listings. Are there fewer buyers? Yes. But I'm working less, making more, selling a higher price point home. That's who my target audience is. Now, don't get me wrong. If somebody calls me and they want to list a $75,000 house or a $50,000 lot, I'm still going to do it because that's my job. But I want to target certain audiences so that I can predict what my business is going to be. The more control that I have over the predictability of my business, the better. Because I want to be able to know what I can do month over month or year over year. Knowing who you want to target, what you want your average price point to be, where you're going to find these people is crucial. And we'll dig into some of that here in a little bit too. So when we're making our offer to our clients, we're not technically like writing them an offer. This is what I'm going to do for you. People buy you. You are your salesman. You are the offer to your client. And I never really understood that until recently. When I am meeting with people, they really don't care what I have on paper. They don't care. If I'm effectively communicating the message to them, they're going to be able to understand what I'm offering. To make sure we're clear on what we're trying to communicate to our people. What's the difference in a direct offer and an indirect offer? Not necessarily. So a direct offer to a client would be me calling and saying, hey, I'm going to list your house at 3% and have it sold in 2 weeks. I'm trying to call it for sale by owner, right? That's a direct offer. But an indirect offer to them is like, let me provide you value. Let me show you what I can do, but I don't expect you to work with me. It's giving without expecting to receive. Most people on the first point of contact, they're not going to just do business with you because you're offering them something directly. There's no trust built. Indirect offer, you're bringing them value, not expecting them to do business with you. And a lot of times they'll convert and become a client. Excuse me. Does that make sense? Okay. So method. When we're prospecting, I'm going to go over like the things that I do so that I can get business in and how I market to them. Number one thing I do, I cold call. Cold calling is 80% or more, no joke, of my business. And here in a little bit, I will write down the last 2 months of business that I've done and everywhere where those leads came from. Because I think it's crucial to see kind of how it all pieces together. Because I've got, well, I just closed some stuff out. I had a little over 2 million under contract this month. All of it came from different sources, majority of it cold calling. But then when we start to tie in agent referrals, guys, we can get business from other agents. It's free business. Yeah, you got to give them a referral fee. But how can we tap into other agents outside of our market to get free business? That's a method. Open houses, great method. I suck at them. They're not my forte, but that's a method. Door knocking. We have to prospect, market to them. We got a time block to do this. Lead generation is not on your calendar. When are you doing it? How often are you guys lead generating?
All the time. I talk
Do you have a set time where you're actively sitting down and you are searching for people? As you should be, as you should be. So you have to time block for prospecting, guys. At least I have committed to 2 hours a day of lead generation. In the beginning, Paulina and I, so when I'm not from Springfield originally. Anybody know where Mountain View is? So I'm from Mountain View, tiny town. I had shut my business that I had down there, moved up here into a small studio apartment, 360 some odd square foot. Because I knew my income was going to take a hit, I really went to the minimalist lifestyle for a while. Paulina and I would sit in my shoebox, as we would call it, because it was so tiny. We would call for hours at the very beginning. But that laid the foundation for what we're doing today. But we time blocked so much time to sit there and reach out to people and just build these connections and prospect and find all of these different people that we could talk to, just so that we could lay that, excuse me, lay that foundation for us to really succeed in the future. If it's not on your calendar and you don't have time scheduled where you are actively doing this, it's going to hurt you in the long run. Now, I'm not saying there's not natural talent, like Dan was mentioning in the leadership class earlier, where it can carry you for a little while. But if you don't have the fundamental foundation of actually prospecting, your sphere will soon run out because people only buy or sell once every 5 to 7 years, typically. Your sphere is going to dwindle down and you're going to be like, well, where is all of my business? I've got people in the pipeline, but I'm looking and I don't have anything closing after this month. You're time blocking for that, that won't be an issue. Have to set time aside to do this, guys. Go ahead. You're good. So the question is, where did Paulina and I start with our lead list? So Paulina started with her sphere originally, and she worked her sphere aggressively. I started with for sale by owners, expireds, canceled. That's where I started. So Paulina was pulling all of her information and all of her people from Facebook. She was also calling for sale by owners too. You know, we would take and we would go on appointments together. We were converting these for sale by owners. So we started there, started with the sphere. And then in the beginning, I mean, we didn't want to put money into trying to produce leads. We didn't have it. Like we just didn't have it then. So there's a website called fastpeoplesearch.com. It is not always accurate, but that's not the point. My very first listing that I had taken was from Fast People Search. It was a canceled listing 2 months prior. I called, met with her. It was overpriced. I was just honest with her. I told her, this is what we can get. I think we can have it sold within a week. Sold the next day after we had it on the market. But the point is, I called probably 20 numbers before I got that one that clicked and worked. It converted. If you guys just get on Fast People Search in the beginning, you can type in an address, phone number, name, and it will produce the data for you. Sometimes it'll have their emails too. Just depends. But that's where in the beginning we really found a lot of it. Now I buy a data list online, and it's not honestly super bad. I think I use Land Voice, and I bought it on a promotion earlier this year, and I spent I think it's $1,000 for the whole year. I think if you do it on your own, like monthly, it's $227. One lead though is going to pay for your entire year, even at $227 a month. But in the beginning, just use Fast People Search. Facebook Messenger is another way. There's all of those Facebook groups like for sale by owner pages. My first buyer lead after I had went on my own, I was on a team originally, came from a Facebook group. I had posted the listing that I got from cold calling off Fast People Search in one of those groups. Somebody wanted to see it. They didn't buy it, but I sold them a different house. So this is why listings are leveraged, guys. First listing I got a buyer lead off it, which I also closed. That really helped set, the pace for more lead generation, because I realized if I just stick to this, if I just continue to do these things, I'll start to see the results. Yes. Yes. So she was asking if we also circle prospect with that program as well. Absolutely. Circle prospecting is a great way to just sold a listing in Nixa, and we went 10 grand over asking, I think. And I called all of the neighbors. Granted, that neighborhood has a high turnover of homes because a lot of people have sold within the last year, but I got a hold of 2 people that had been there for 9, 10 years. And they're like, well, we paid X amount then. What do you think we could sell for now? I have listing appointments with both of them this week. Just by calling and doing circle prospecting. Is everybody familiar with what circle prospecting is? Okay. Circle prospecting is when you call, so say you've got a listing or you sold a house to a buyer in a specific neighborhood. Circle prospecting is where you can call all of the neighbors, like the nearest 100 neighbors, nearest 50 homes. You call them and you say, hey, look, I just sold this house. I just wanted to give you a heads up. This is what we sold for. If you got any questions, just let me know. You can even circle prospect for open houses, which is kind of just like door knocking, which is like what you did for holiday. Hey, I just want to let you know, we've got an open house coming up on Sunday. The road might get a little busy, and I just wanted to kind of give you guys a heads up of what's going to be going on. If you guys want to come by, I'll be there at 1:30. We start at 2, but I'll be there 30 minutes ahead of time if you guys want to come in for just a quick preview. I know sometimes neighbors like to see their neighbors' houses, so just come on by. I'll be there 30 minutes early. That way you can avoid the traffic of the actual open house. Those conversations that I have with people when I was doing open houses 30 minutes before the actual open house, my biggest lead converters, because I could actually spend time talking to the neighbors. I could spend time getting to know them, getting to know their needs, get to know the neighborhood more. That right there, circle prospecting for open houses, really big way to bring in business. That was a good question. Thank you for asking. Okay. So marketing based versus prospecting based. Marketing, it is money intensive. It is passive, long-term results. Prospecting is time intensive. It is proactive, immediate results. When you're marketing to people, you are typically having to spend money to get to talk to them. Doing Facebook advertisements or sponsoring a charity event, putting out a donation somewhere. Marketing is more of a making people aware of who you are type thing. You don't really offer anything when you're marketing to people aside from your brand. Hey, I'm, Austin Pekarek. I'm a realtor. I'm sponsoring this charity event. That's pretty much all they're going to know. But over time, the more charity events that I sponsor, they're going to start to see this more. That's why it's long term. It is not immediate and it is costly. When I was a photographer, my prior business, we sponsored almost every charity event that we could. That got expensive. Some of these donations, they want, minimum $1,000. And when you're doing 30 of these things a year, it's like, yes, long term it did pay off because we built recognition. We couldn't do that in the beginning. Just like with Paulina and I, we were using every free resource we had. Prospect versus marketing to people. Now our gears have switched and we're starting to market to people. We're starting to spend a little bit of money, not a lot, but just a little bit to build that brand recognition. Because without brand recognition, if you don't have that brand there, people don't really know who you are. Have to spend a little bit of money when you get there to make it work. Prospecting. In the beginning, it is time intensive. But we all, like I said, we all have to do it. We all need to have at least 2 hours of prospecting time on our calendar every day. Without it, we're not going to have business. First 6 months, you should be prospecting as much as you possibly can. Like I said, it is going to be time intensive and you're going to get tired of being on the phones. You're going to get tired of talking to people. How bad do you want to get paid? Most people, I would say, would like to get paid. If you want to work for free, that's great. I'm not going to do that. You can. Immediate results come from prospecting. In the business, your first 6 months, you are ready to close some deals. We need immediate results. How do we get there? Through prospecting. It's through talking to people on a consistent basis, through time blocking, to cold call, to do circle prospecting for open houses. All of the different lead generation models that we can dig into, that's prospecting. You have to lead with prospecting, then you can follow with marketing. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. Here's all the different things that you guys can do. There's a lot there. There really is so many different ways that you can generate business. In the beginning, we did everything because we didn't know what we were good at yet. I mean, we didn't know. I mean, just like Paulina is fantastic at open houses. I mean, she did one yesterday and she got 4 new leads off of it. I wouldn't have done that, but I did them in the beginning to see, what worked for me. We did all of these different things. Once you find what you're really good at, stick to it and stay consistent with it. I'm really good with expired listings. I think it's fun. It's a challenge. They're typically upset that they expired and didn't sell off of the market. Let me show you what value I can bring to get it sold. It may have not been a price issue. Maybe it was a marketing issue that your agent had done that's causing the home to not sell. Those cell phone shots, I'm about to blow those out of the water with my professional photographer. sometimes, you know, it's crucial to find what you enjoy, because I love helping expired listings. I helped an elderly couple. They were both in their 80s selling a house in Nixa. It was overpriced by about $10,000. It sat on the market for 90 days. They're extremely frustrated. Wife is starting to deteriorate rapidly. He's in a wheelchair. He cannot take care of the house. They're, they know that they're going to a nursing home, but he's like, I can't afford to put my wife and myself in the nursing home until this house is sold. That's a sad reality that some people face. Their last agent put cell phone shots up on the market, not write very strong marketing remarks, had it overpriced by about $10,000. This agent doesn't realize what he's doing to these people. Once I got to understand and know what's going on in their lives, now I'm more passionate about my job. That's why I love working with expireds, because you never know somebody's story. I listed the house for $10,000 less, wrote really good marketing remarks, had professional photos done. We had a full price offer in a week. They were able to close. Now they're in the nursing home and they're doing much better. That's why I love expireds. For sale by owners, the same thing. Go ahead. Great question. Thank you for asking. So I absolutely use my past career as leverage. And I tell them, guys, look, the first step any home buyer is taking when searching for a home is online. If we don't have really compelling photos, and listen, I was a photographer before, so I know a compelling photo. And I'm going to make sure that we have the absolute best photos in photography for your home. Because if we don't appeal to people online, they're not going to want to come see it in person. Your home's beautiful in person, but if the photos don't clearly show that, they're not going to come. So I'm going to spend my own money. You don't have to pay for the photography. I know some agents are going to charge you, but I don't. I'm going to put forth my best photographer to make sure that your property shines when we put it on the market. Oh, I am done with that business. Little backstory, I burnt myself out when I was a photographer. I was doing 500 to 600 sessions a year. I had a really good business built. I was exhausted. I did not have my weekends back. I wanted the free time. And like I said, I loved what I did. I loved being a photographer. I loved connecting with people. I had photographed people's senior photos, weddings, first child. I get to see people, you know, grow into adults when I did that. But I didn't have the life I wanted. And that's why I got into real estate. I really don't work much on the weekends. And so that I will not photograph my own property listings. Photographing a face and photographing a house is two very different things, but I still use it as an edge to get in it. Yes, absolutely you can. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. If I have the floor plan, I always do it. Simply because we have so many buyers from out of state right now. I don't want them wasting their time flying in, making my sellers leave the house if the floor plan isn't gonna work. So if I have the floor plan, I will spend, there's a company called Box Brownie. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it. They're phenomenal though. You can send in your photos to them. They'll enhance the photos for you. They'll clean up the grass, take leaves out of photos. If your clients have clutter on the countertops, they'll take the clutter out. It's absurd what they can do. And I will spend, I think it's $35 or $65 a floor. But I've got a property in Millwood that they had the floor plans from the builder. I spent like 120 bucks to get it done, but it brought buyers to the house because like, oh, this looked like a really unique floor plan. We wanted to see it in person. It got people in the door. So I do think it's worth it depending on the price of the house. Not familiar, actually. Hmm. I've heard of this actually. It's not bad. Hmm. Interesting. I'll have to check into that. Okay, I'll check into that because for a lower end price point, just something quick, that would be nice. Because I mean, I do have to wait 3 to 4 days to get the 3D plans back. So thank you for telling me. Yes. I, one thing, I mean, I use pretty much, I use Jared Hoffpower for all of my listing stuff. I've known Jared since I was a photographer. So I've trusted him. I know he trusts me. I don't care what price point it is. I'm paying somebody to go photograph it. It's just, that is a system that is in my business that I stick to because I know Jared's turnaround times. And a lot of times, if I'm at a listing appointment, this is part of my value add. They want to know from the time they sign that paperwork to the time that it's going to be on the market. If I can have that be predictable, they're going to trust me more. Jared is reliable. So if I've got a $50,000 house that is falling apart, I'm still going to send Jared out there. He's going to snap 4, 5, 6 photos of what he can. I know I'm going to have it back in 24 hours. If I've got $1 million listing, I'm sending Jared out there. He's going to snap 40 or 50 photos. I know I'm going to have it back in 24 hours. Go ahead. Mhm. Yes. Yeah. Paulina. Oh, they totally make it stand out. Paulina and I have an 8,300 square foot house coming up in Ravenwood South. The house is absurdly massive. Like there's rooms they don't even use pretty much. And we're sitting here and we're like, in order to sell something like this, we're going to have to pump some money into everything that we do. So we've hired a video guy. I do use, Jared does video, but I use somebody different for my video. Jared's doing photos and drone. I mean, we're going to spend close to, I think, almost $1,000 just on the photography and marketing for the home in the beginning. But if we didn't do that, I mean, we're not going to have anything to showcase, and it's also not going to be predictable. I can keep my systems in line and have everything done. I know I feel a whole lot better about it because I know what's actually happening. Got a little off course there, sorry. So go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. So Paulina and I, we don't spend a whole extra lot of money on outside marketing. Now, what we will do, we're gonna put that listing everywhere we possibly can. Facebook groups, yard sale groups. I mean, that you guys will find that people online, you can create a conversation with anybody and convert them. Facebook groups, yard sale sites. In the beginning, I did a couple of Craigslist ads. In the very beginning, that actually worked. I got people that hadn't, found agents yet. They were interested in the house. For higher dollar listings, I'm marketing those to out-of-state people. I've developed relationships with agents in other states that I know work with buyers that are moving a lot. If I've got something unique, I will call them, hey, this is something that I've got coming up. Do you know of anybody? Sometimes marketing isn't necessarily just putting it out there. Sometimes it's knowing people. So I have to push it out to those people too. We will do Facebook ads, we'll sponsor the post. There's certain demographics. Now you have to be careful because of the fair housing laws and things like that. But if I want to target a certain zip code where I know that people are looking, like 65802 on the east side, there's a whole bunch of people moving over that way. If I sponsor a bunch of posts over there, it's going to generate leads. So, excuse me, anywhere that we can pump the listing to, where we can get more eyes on it, we'll do. Social media is big too. Snapchat stories, Instagram stories, Facebook stories, Instagram post, Facebook post. Anywhere where I can get people to interact is where I want to post it. And like there was another listing that was listed for over a year. It was a new build. They had it priced right. I really don't know what the issue was. They used professional photos, everything. It would not sell. I took it over. We dropped it $5,000. I put it on my Instagram story. An agent from an hour away saw it and brought a cash buyer. Like, you just never know where you post it, what eyes are going to see it. So everywhere that you can get something, I'd put it there. But we don't spend a whole lot of extra money outside of the photos and things like that to try to market stuff. If we have to, we will. Don't get me wrong, we will. But we also want to stay profitable too. And you can get crazy spending money on certain things. So we try to avoid that. Did that help? To be honest with you, I do not know the answer to that. I know that there are like Mossy Oak properties. I know sometimes they have listings that are just office listings and they'll put it in certain places, but I don't understand how they don't have it through the MLS. That is out of my knowledge realm. I'm sorry. I wish I could answer. I just don't know, to be honest. I just don't know. Yes, and then Philip Reed. Philip Reed does a lot of land, and I'm pretty sure Greg Hill does too. Philip Reed and Greg Hill. Uh, Jennifer Grove, yes, she does. She does a lot of commercial stuff too. Do what? Oh, yeah. Okay, so out of this group in here, what have you guys done that is like actual prospecting? Anybody want to share any experiences? Go. Love it. Love cold calling. Cold calling, guys, it's my favorite because oh, it makes me happy. Because here's why I love it, guys. It's predictable. I know that if I call 500 numbers, 12% of those 500 numbers are going to answer. Out of that 12%, I can book an appointment with 20% of those people. Out of the 20% that I book an appointment with, I can convert 70% to a listing. I know if I sit down for 3 hours, I'm going to make 2 solid contacts. It's so predictable for me. So when I am looking at my pipeline and I'm like, I need to get more business, I know I need to sit for 6 hours for 3 days to get my pipeline built back up. That's why I love cold calling. I like predictability. Cold calling is one way that I can be predictable. And that, to me, is in such a business that is a roller coaster. I want to be able to have the peace of mind of knowing that I'm in control. I feel in control when I'm prospecting through cold calling. That's why I love it. It's fun. And it's a challenge. People get snippy. That's fun to deal with. It really is. Well, you're the 50th agent that's called me today. Well, damn, you must have a nice house. Like, you can always find a way to turn it into a positive. Anybody else want to share their experiences? Go ahead. Volunteer work is a great way. Yep, it is a great way to generate business from people. Does anybody have any questions about any of these that are up here that they want me to go over? Meals? It's like charity work. Or like some will take a pie for Thanksgiving, gift baskets for Christmas. Yes, 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 things like that. Any other questions before we can move forward? Okay, so we kind of dove into the prospecting methods. Does everybody understand why prospecting and lead generation go together? Okay. Now, taking action and developing a plan. That's going to kind of relate to time blocking. If we have to keep a plan in place, which is our time blocking, so that we're actively prospecting. Okay. Prospecting-based marketing enhanced. Door knocking, agent-to-agent referrals, open houses, and social media are kind of those 4 that we've got there. It is prospecting-based, but we're spending a little bit of money behind it to kind of create that brand and create the recognition. With door knocking, you're putting out flyers. You got to spend money on those flyers. So that's marketing enhanced. Agent-to-agent referrals, getting to know agents out of other market centers, or even agents within our market center here. Like if I go on vacation, it always seems Paulina and I book our vacations without knowing at the same time. The same week, it always happens. We can't send business back and forth if we're both gone on the beach. So there's agents that I've come to know, like, and trust in our market center that we can send business to. Social media, a little bit of money, it's marketing enhanced. Everybody understands this. We approach them, we take action, we ask for their business, and then we get paid. So this is the model that we follow for prospecting. We want to grow all of our contacts, manage your contacts, maintain your contacts. This is going about command referrals. Like most people in here said they're familiar with command, right? You can send and receive referrals from agents. I send out requests to agents. I get requests from agents just to be in your referral network. Just like prospecting to clients, prospect to other agents too. You never know what agent from Oklahoma, Colorado, Texas, Arizona, California, Seattle, wherever has somebody that's wanting to move here. The more agents that you can talk to, get to know from other market centers, it's free business. Facebook groups are a great way to meet other agents too. There are a ton of real estate agent groups out there where you can just talk about problems that you've got. You can meet all different kinds of agents, and they're not just Keller agents. I mean, there's all different kinds that you can meet out. Yeah. Yeah. So through command, they'll do all of your referral agreement stuff in here. It's all done for you there. Now, when you're following up with the agent, I mean, typically you know the client that you're referring them to. So I'll be in touch with both people. And I'm not out of my boundary of, contacting them, if they're working with another agent, because if they're in a different state, I'm not out of my realm. I know this person. I want to make sure they're getting taken care of. So I'll just send them a text, send the agent a text, hey, just checking in for a status update. Then they'll typically let me know when it goes under contract or when they've listed it. Then I follow up, just seeing what the activity is. Typically, they're selling everything everywhere pretty quick right now. So within a few days, it's sold. Stay in touch throughout the process. I mean, I would treat it just like a normal client. I want to know what's going on the entire step of the way. That way I can stay on top of my referral check, which command will show the process, but I also stay in touch because I need to know what's going on. And I need to know if my client that I referred is getting taken care of too. Because maybe I did refer it to a different Keller agent out of a market center that I don't know. Sometimes I don't know agents in different areas. It's crucial to know who I'm sending this business to and are they taking care of my people? I always do. It's a culture thing. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you have to be. I mean, I stay on anything that is referred out, I stay on top of. I had a referral from an agent out of North Carolina. He was also an agent in Tennessee too. He had his license in 2 different areas. He sent the referral check to North Carolina. He lives in Tennessee. I get a phone call 3 months later. Hey, where's my check? Well, let's check and see. We sent it on this date to this market center. That's the address that was, given, on the the form that they send over for taxes. That's where we sent it. He followed up 3 months later. I didn't even question because I knew the market center had sent it. I didn't even question whether the guy got paid or not. Very odd circumstance, that he happened to have 2 licenses in 2 different states, but still it can happen. So you have to stay in touch, make sure people are getting paid too. Okay, open houses. Really good at this, Kirk. I was very impressed with what you did for my holiday listing. You had prepared for the open house. He door knocked everywhere around it, prospected for it, and then held the open. Did you have good results? Good. Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Any chance you can get to talk to people? Absolutely. I always do, Keller agent opens typically when I was doing them. Paulina's yesterday, like I said, she had probably 40 some people through. Great turnout, great turnout. And that was a different agent's listing for that. I don't want to work weekends. So any chance that I have to pass an open house of my listing off, I'm gonna take. And it's not that I won't work weekends, don't get me wrong. Prior business, I was tired. I never had weekends to myself. Now I have that control. So I've never seen an agent turn down, an agent doing an open house for them. Sometimes sellers don't want them. So sometimes it's harder, for those, but most agents will not turn down you having the opportunity to do an open for them. At an open, man, it's honestly online. I mean, when you post that there's an open online, people see that. But again, door knocking, circle prospecting, uh, Facebook advertisements, if you've got enough time before the open. I've seen agents that will do a coming soon open house. They'll blast it out to a certain zip code, and that does get people in a lot too. Right now, it's pretty easy to get people into opens. Signs on every corner, as much as you can do to draw attention to the listing. I've seen people put big flags out in the front of the house, just anything to kind of be like a pattern interrupt somebody's day. You see 5 signs on the side of a road pointing somewhere and they're bright red, probably going to catch your attention. So the more signs that you can put out, the more attention that you can bring to it, that's going to draw people in. But online right now is where most people are seeing them. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And they're all compliant because the MREC, there's a lot of changes that have come about with how your brokerage needs to be branded on the signs and how big the logo needs. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. Same thing with business cards. The open house signs here, they are $7 and like $3 for the stand. Oh, they're $1. Okay. Okay. Yeah, they're not very bad. Not very bad at all. Oh, you're good. I had some get stolen by MoDOT. So MoDOT, if they mow, yep, they'll come by and they'll mow and then they don't put them back. They don't care. I mean, and they are cheap, thankfully, but it does happen. I had 2 signs get stolen out in Stratford. No idea where they went. People will take and spray paint them black and put their own signs on them too. Yeah. Yep. Couldn't get them. It's so irritating. It's like, man, that's my hard-earned money that you're taking. It's like, exactly. So the open house stuff, I feel like this slide's kind of pretty standard. Obviously, you're gonna host a speaker, offer a gift of some kind, cookies, donuts, something, get the house in showing shape and go live. I feel like that's pretty standard. So a speaker would be like, who's hosting the open? So if I've got a listing that I know I need to have held open, I'm going to post it, find somebody to host it for me. That's kind of what that is. Okay. Social media. Select your target audience. Seek what you want to present to them. share, and then service those leads. That makes sense? We have to know what we're wanting to target, know what we're wanting to say, share it with them, and then service the contacts and the data that we get from that. Everybody understands like the 80-20 rule applies in so many places in our business. Not just in business, but in life too. So my social media account, I'm not sure, I'm probably more 50-50 than anything, and I need to work on that. Again, people buy you. So we should only post 20% of our content should be business related. 80% should be personal. Again, people buy you. When they see the occasional, drip of the real estate content in there, it's like, oh, okay, that guy is an agent. Oh, but he's also got a really cute dog. Right. That's exactly. That's funny. Yes, I do have a business page. Um, I don't really use it, and mostly because all of my clients, one reason I do that too, I don't necessarily want to do business with my friends. I don't want to sell Susie's house that I went to high school with. I know Susie, Susie knows me. I don't want to really do business with people I know. Just like doing business with family. So when I am prospecting, I'm purposely searching for people I do not know because I want to be able to create a fresh relationship with that person. So I'm just finding my clients on Facebook, adding them to my personal page, and then they get to actually start to know me. And then I can cultivate that personal relationship where they do see my cute dog and I get to see their family vacations and their cute dog. But then they also see my real estate stuff. And then they get to see how many people like what I'm sharing about their house or what they've bought. Like there's a house that I just closed on, really cool, like all black house. My client comments every time she sees me in person. It got over 150 likes. That's really exciting. Thank you. It is like they notice those things. And then I put it on TikTok and it got like 1,200 views. And she's like, we're viral. My house is basically. So you get to kind of create those personal relationships when they see that kind of stuff. Facebook business pages, the algorithms are not as strong as they are for a personal page. Mhm. Yeah, that's a way to do it. I just focus solely on my page. Instagram's great. Instagram is great. Twitter, I haven't really gotten a lot from it. I've tried, but
I try everything.
way to do it. Go for it. You got to go for it. All right. So taking action and developing your plan. Does everybody kind of now have an idea of what we need to do to take action, make a plan? Anybody have questions about how we should take action? Good. Okay. This is what we were mentioning earlier about finding what you're good at. 80% of your business is going to come from 5 lead sources. I focus primarily on cold calling, circle prospecting, door knocking, referrals, and agent referrals, because client referrals and agent referrals are a little bit different. That's where I get my business from. Those can come through prospecting through social media, all the different avenues you can find people to communicate. Everybody understand this? Or 90% from 5 sources or less, excuse me. This is gonna talk about prioritizing your lead generation efforts. Understanding where you're strong so that you can capitalize on it. Breaking down where most of your business came from so that you know where to focus your efforts. That makes sense for everybody there? Okay. Developing a, go ahead.
I'm pretty sure it's in the MRIA.
It might be, I can't remember.
I feel like it's in there.
Yes, there are. Okay, page 14 in your guys' guide. Everybody kind of near there? Sometimes it's not possible. Exactly. So what I have learned, if I'm gonna have an open house held, I post it on Thursday. And then that gives me time, I make the listing active on Thursday. That gives me all day Friday for people to see it. I'll typically do an open house Saturday and Sunday, and then we'll review offers Sunday evening. And we just are transparent in the marketing remarks that we're presenting all offers at this time. Now, I have had. Now, that's what I was getting ready to go over. That's what I was getting ready to go over. I have had sellers that will go against that. If a seller gets an offer prior that they're like, look, we're done. I'm got what I'm asking for. We're not doing the open house. Okay. That's fine. Right. That's fine. We'll cancel the open house. We don't have to do it. So I try to not do that. I don't feel right. I mean, it's like, I had an offer that came in on it the first time. Kirk was going to do the open house. The seller didn't want to do it. We go back on the market because it fell through. Had him do it again, but we had another offer that came in, and the seller decided to accept it. I was like, I can't cancel this open house on this guy twice. So I just went ahead and told the seller we got to hold this one open, and so we did. Yes. Hmm? Yeah, it is. Right. Exactly. Low energy, high results. Okay. Excuse me. So on pages 14 and 16, this is kind of where we're going to develop, like your guys' plan for developing your lead generation strategy. So we're going to do this independently. Pick your top 3 prospecting methods that you guys are currently using for lead generation or think that you guys might be good at. Then underneath that, of course, it's kind of brainstorm the pros and cons of using that method. Fourteen through 16. You guys need me to go back to, sorry about that. And then, who wants to share like one of the methods that you guys feel you might have pros and cons with? Like, what's the pros of cold calling? What are the cons of cold calling? Go ahead. Predictability. What can be harsh. See, that's where I find enjoyment in it. Yes, because you can put them in their place. Like, yes, exactly. You can put them in their place. That's what's fun. Like, that's why I enjoy it because it is so true. Yes. Have a good day. We're done. There are certain things you can say to somebody. So if I'm trying to close them for an appointment and they say to me, well, hey, I really need to think about it. Hey, I understand that you need to think about it, but that tells me one of two things. One, you're telling me you need to think about it and it's really a no, but you're just trying to be polite. Or there's some type of question that you still have that I have not addressed. So which one is it? And that is understanding the objections that you get is how you overcome some of those things. And it's just like when people say, well, gosh, you're the 50th agent that's called me today. Well, yeah, you probably got a pretty nice house then, don't you? And it's a pattern interrupt of some way, shape, or form to them. Or, when I'm calling and people are, they just don't want to talk to me, I will find ways that I can pry just a little bit to get information from them. So, hey, is this John? Yeah, this is John. Hey, perfect. I'm sure you're getting hammered with calls today about your house, aren't you? Yeah, actually I am. Perfect. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do have a couple questions if you're willing to entertain that. Honestly, no, right now that I don't have the time. Okay, that's fine. How about tomorrow between 10 and 2? Silent. Well, oh, I'm busy then. Hey, that's totally fine. I understand that. What I'll do is I'll give you a call back tomorrow. I'll leave you a voicemail. And if I don't hear back from you, I'll just shoot you a text. If I don't hear back from you on the text, I'll give you another call. If you don't return my call, I'll probably send another text, call another couple times. Then I'll probably drop by something at your house, just a gift card or a letter. If I don't hear back from you, then I'll give you another call. Does that work? And then they're like, well, I'll just take your call tomorrow. So there's just ways that you can find to get in touch. It is, but guess who answers my call? Or they block my number. One of the two. That's the thing. I just need to know where they're really at. Are you being nice to me to be nice and you're really not interested? Or have I not explained something properly? What's our holdback? What's the hesitation? Because if there's something that you want to ask me that you're afraid to ask me, I'm not going to be offended. Just ask me. And sometimes you just got to put people in their place. Not in a bad way, not be rude, and I don't mean that like, I'm going to put you in your corner. I just need to know where you're coming from so that I can properly address the situation and know how I need to proceed. Yes. Yep. Yes. It's that brand reputation. Absolutely. Now, I have put my foot in my mouth by telling people their photos aren't very good as a for sale by owner. I called a lady one time who happened to be a photographer. Hey, I just noticed the photos on here weren't very good. Excuse me? I am a professional photographer and I took those photos. Well, ma'am, I was a professional photographer for years before this too. So I've put my foot in my mouth before. It happens. Exactly. Whoops. I may have got a little bit more snippy because she kind of got snippy. And I said, there's a difference in a Walmart camera and a so, that one didn't really end too well. I got a little heated. But it happens, right? I gave it to Paulina. Go ahead. I am so glad that you know how all of this works because guess what? That's going to make my job a lot easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into business together. When I work with a buyer or seller that's clearly educated, like I look at this as a business opportunity for us both. when we go into business together, if you don't want to be in business with me and I'm the worst agent that you've ever worked with in the first 2 weeks and you just want to cancel this contract, by all means, we're more than welcome to walk away from this. But this is a business opportunity for us both. And while I know that you know exactly what is going on in this market, there are still value adds that I have, just like in the inspection period. I need to be there to be that buffer. And while you may know the contract terms and everything all in between, what are you going to do when the buyer, when you're a for sale by owner, comes to you and they're asking for $20,000 in repairs? You're offended by it. Because I would be offended if somebody came to me and asked for $20,000 in repairs to my house that I know is in good condition. I would be offended. That's what I'm here for. We'll do the marketing strategy whichever way you want me to. But if it doesn't work in 2 weeks, we are going to lower the price, because that clearly there's three things that sell a house: condition, price, and location. We can't change your condition. It's in good condition. We can't change the location. The only thing we can change is the price, right? Okay, so we agree on that. Any other questions that, I didn't, really cover that you might, not know? Most of the time, like, yeah, no, we're good. I got it. I understand. Right. You have to read the person's personality type. Good idea to offer to hold their open house to show them marketing we would be doing. Trying to convert a for sale by owner, you can definitely hold an open house for a for sale by owner and say, hey, look, I am willing to do this for free for you, just so you can see what I'm about. I'm working for you for free. I would want somebody to work for me for free. We can show them that value and show them that we are really hardworking. We're willing to put forth that effort. Guess who they're going to call when they do decide to list? They're going to feel indebted to you. Because if somebody does something for me, I try to find a way to pay it forward. I want people to know I appreciate them. I want people to know that I care. 95% of people are good people. Not to my, now you do have to get like I think a day agreement, like a day agreement that you can do it. Authorization, yes. As far as I know, no, there are no restrictions. I mean, we've done that in the past. Unless something has changed within the last 6 months that I don't know about, it should be fine. Okay. There. Okay. Let's kind of recap this. I kind of got off path. I hope everybody's taken away something, though. Has this been valuable in any way, shape, or form? Okay. So what is your thinking? How has it changed if somebody wants to share? What ideas or mindsets do you have now that are new? I love it. I love it.
But
Feels like you're selling it works.
It's not my thing. Yeah, I don't want to talk to people that are my friends and my family. Started my class and everything.
Yep.
So it was kind of all my teachers and all.
I get it.
just because they're people I know.
Mhm.
And so it was very refreshing to say that.
Here's the thing too. One reason I don't like doing business with friends or family, guys, we're all human. I make mistakes every day. I'm not perfect, near perfect, but we're not quite there yet. If I make a mistake with a friend or family member, that mistake is a whole lot more personal to them. If I make a mistake with somebody I don't know, I apologize and I move on. Friends and family are not going to forget that I forgot to change the photo on the MLS. They're not going to forget that, hey, I accidentally forgot that in the contract, the refrigerator is included. Didn't tell you that. I'm going to buy a refrigerator so that you guys aren't out the money. Friends and family are going to remember that I forgot that refrigerator. Somebody I don't know and I correct my mistake, they're going to appreciate the fact that I corrected it and they're probably going to use me again. Maybe they are super offended about it, but at least I paid for the refrigerator. You weren't out any money. Yeah, I have had to buy a refrigerator. I bought bar stools. I had to pay one time to have insulation sprayed in an attic one time too. That was $1,200. But I communicated it, or I thought I did, to the sellers. Do it. 100. Yep. Sometimes yeah, you get sticky situations. Yeah. See, I am way too passive when it comes to money. I probably shouldn't tell you guys this. Now you'll all be calling me. I'm way too passive. Like if I feel like it's a burden to my seller or to my buyer, I will most of the time just take care of it. Because, and then at the closing table, I'm like, hey, look, I just want to let you guys know, I just realized that to take care of this inspection item. Or I noticed that this was on the inspection. You guys didn't ask for it, but I felt that it was an issue. I didn't notice it until after the fact, when my handyman was out there and he pointed this out. I went ahead and I took care of it. 50 or $100, but it builds that relationship a lot stronger because then it doesn't show that I'm being greedy. And that's something that we all have to avoid, is that commission breath. Yes, we all want to make money in the beginning, and I get it. It's hard when you're like, well, I'm not getting paid and I don't know when I'm going to get paid. I get it. But if we can show that we're not greedy, and if we can show that we're genuinely trying to help, and if we're passionate about what we're doing, people will begin to trust you more. Yes. And that really. Exactly. A lot of the biggest. Exactly. Okay, what do you guys feel differently about? What was meaningful to you guys throughout this? I think that's one thing about our culture here. I think that any agent, and I don't mean this badly either, the reality is you guys probably are only going to retain 30% of what I told you today. And I don't mean this in a negative towards any of you, but I'm always happy to share anything and everything I've done. You guys aren't me. And I don't mean that badly, but we're all going to do things differently. So with that 30% of the knowledge that you're going to retain and hopefully apply, you're going to do it differently than I am, because you're you and I'm me. So there's no reason to keep any secrets with anything. because everybody, there's plenty of business out there for all of us. When I was a photographer, other photographers would get so offended if I were to photograph one of their people. Well, there's plenty of business out there for everybody. The biggest advice that I could give anybody in this business, come from a place of abundance. Operate your business from a total opposite mindset of scarcity. Because when you put out an abundance of positivity, an abundance of just an abundant mindset, you're going to get so much more back. When you operate from a scarcity standpoint, people sense desperation. Nobody wants their desperate ex texting them again. But if we come from a place of abundance, people are receptive to that. So always operate your business from an abundant mindset, and it will reap you so many rewards. Really will. Okay, let's dig into the daily success habits here. So here's how to set your guys' career on fire, it says. 10 contacts a day, 10 conversations, 10 handwritten notes, 10 home previews a week. I don't know if this is in the, oh no, it is. It's on, it doesn't tell me what page it is. I'm sorry. It'd be past the writing activity part. May not be. 10 home previews a week, guys, just going in and seeing houses, knowing what's on the market. Gives you things to talk about to people. 10 handwritten notes. Tip, use blue ink. Blue ink is more welcoming than black or red ink. People like to read handwritten notes. If I cold call somebody and I don't get an appointment with them, I write them a handwritten note with $5 Starbucks gift card. Hey, thank you for taking my call. Go enjoy some Starbucks. But I write in blue. People are receptive to blue. Blue is a welcoming color. So handwritten notes really are a big part of building a business, guys. 10 conversations a day. More people you can talk to, more results you're going to get. 10 contacts added. Constantly be feeding your database. Right. I get it. I was there too. Handwritten card without, right. Handwritten card without a Starbucks card. I think the office, our cards are, they'll add it to your agent billing. I think they're maybe like, I know don't they give some for free and some, you can win some somehow too? There's, yeah, there's a lot of free things like that we're talking about here. This is all prospecting based. But then once you start getting that money in, you can start adding, the $5 gift cards. People are still going to appreciate, like, I can cold call somebody from Fast People Search. That didn't cost me any money. I can get a card from the office that also didn't cost me any money that I can send to them. There are a lot of avenues that this is all free. Then once you start getting that second, third, fourth closing coming in, then it's like, okay, now I can delegate a portion of my commission, even if it's 5% of my commission, to buying stuff to market again. And so I was there too. Like, I mean, I totally get it. I totally understand. And if you stick to it, and if you put in just that little bit of time intensive work, the results will come. Once you do your first 5 deals, after that, it becomes a lot easier. Once you hit a certain point, you get in your own rhythm and things start to flow a lot easier for you. But you have to find what works for you. And so cold calling may not be it. The handwritten cards may not be it. I personally think they're a very powerful tool. I love getting handwritten cards from people. Oh, wow, this person cares. And it sits in a box, but at least I still have it. Okay. Want to make sure we kind of stay on time here. Let me make sure we are all good because we're getting ready to do a little bit of prospecting for you guys. Okay. So, scripts. Purpose of scripts so that you can lead generate, uncover motivations, identify objections, close deals, speak in terms the customer understands, and build confidence. I, in the beginning, read all of the scripts that Keller provides. I did not read them to my client. When I would read them, I would have to make it my own. Because people can tell if you're sitting and you're reading. But the purpose of these scripts is so that you can uncover people's motivations. Because if we don't really understand what a person is trying to achieve, how can we offer value to help them? So we have to uncover what the underlying motivation is. Then we have to identify the objections. That's also another purpose of the scripts. If we can identify why they don't want to list with us, well, how can we overcome that? Scripts do help you close deals because it helps set you up for them to trust you, like you, do business with you. Gives you the ability to speak to customers in terms that they understand. A lot of real estate lingo clients don't quite get. If we know that we can use or look at just a quick script that has some different terminology on it, like I don't say contracts. Contract sounds like a scary word to some people. I use the term agreement. In the agreement, it states this. If I say in the contract, it states this. It's a lot more scary to some people. So I prefer to use the word agreement. And I have little notes of words that like I know that I'm going to say often that I switch them out with. So
I didn't realize that.
I've never had anybody on that. I think it's generally understood are binding agreements. I don't know anybody that, I don't have any clients at least that have signed something. Even if they do, I can just say, well, guys, this is in writing.
Well, you know, there's.
That's an agent communication fault. That's an agent. Yeah, that's an agent communication issue. If the agent did not effectively communicate what that they're signing is, that's the agent's fault. You know, it happens. Unfortunately, it happens. Go ahead. Yep. I always tell people, and I always make it funny too. Look, I need you guys to sign this agreement. This is just stating that I can appropriately advise you. I can't give you advice without having something in place because I can get in trouble. I don't know if you really can or not, but I'm sure you can. But I can get in trouble if I don't have this signed. Here's the deal. If I show you 2 or 3 houses, or I have you listed for 2 or 3 weeks, and you're like, this guy is the worst agent, I'll rip up the contract and let you out of it for free. I'm not going to hold you to this. Like I said earlier, we're in business together when we do this. And I don't know anybody in business who's going to want to work with a partner that they don't like, know, and trust. So I'm just asking for you to trust me here. you're disappointed, no, I will not hold you to this agreement. I'll even have my broker sign something stating that you are released from this contract. Whichever way you want to go. Are you okay with that? Most of the time, they're fine. Good question. Thank you. Okay. Does everybody have like their script books? So we probably won't do 30 minutes of it. But if you guys want to spend maybe 15 kind of going back and forth with somebody, or what we could do too is if somebody wants to cold call me, practice that way. So who wants to call me? You're the agent, I'll be the seller. Perfect, call me. You got a script that you want to use though? It should be. Kind of focus on one and let me know the scenario though. What page is it in your book there? That'll work. Oh,
Hi, is this Austin?
speaking.
Austin, hi, my name is Kurt.
I do it. Why are you calling?
Oh, man,
I don't really think I need help though, man. Man, here's the deal. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I've got this house up. I've had 40 different calls from buyers. We've got people coming in. Now, if you bring me a buyer, sure, I'll pay you a commission, but it'd have to be added to the purchase price. I got photos online. That's not good enough.
I know.
Thank you.
Put together?
Nope, did it with my cell phone. iPhones are pretty good these days, and Instagram, you can edit them. I know they look good.
40 different order for me to. I would need to lay eyes on them myself.
Getting a lot on this right now.
Sure.
What, uh, got somebody that, you know, have them come along with you.
Exactly right. That's the worst that can happen. You tell me absolutely no way. I don't want you to come out. I don't want you to do anything. I don't want you to. I'll go on my merry way, and I probably won't bother you for at least another 40.
Pretty good. So here's something that was very solid. It really was. When a seller asks me to bring a buyer, something that I will tell them is, look, we have got an office full. Buyer's perception's a little bit different. My buyer that I have in mind may not be the buyer that's willing to pay the most. Got this house listed at 235. For all I know, man, I haven't seen it in person. It may be worth 250. My job is to help you make the most amount of money. For me to know if your house is worth more, I really need to be there in person. And I understand that you want me to bring the buyer, and I am more than happy to, if I can get to see the condition of this house. While the photos are beautiful, photos can be conceiving. I really, really want to help you get this sold. I probably have somebody in my pipeline or in my office that is. I need to know which one's going to pay the most amount of money. Only way I can do that is if I see it. If I think that they're going to give you the most amount of money, or if I think your house is worth more, one, I'm going to tell you your house is worth more. That information as you please. But I'm also going to be honest with you if my buyer is the one that's going to pay. My buyer is not the one that's going to give you the most amount of money. Let's not worry about it. Leave it at that. Can I be there tomorrow at 2? Most of the time they will. Some people will use it against them and say, if I bring you a buyer, I'm technically negotiating against you. The reality is, I don't want to bring them a buyer. I want to list the house. So I don't want to tell them I'm going to try to negotiate against them. I want to find a way that I can make this a win-win. So let me see if your house might be worth more. Let me see if you know, there's a buyer out there that'd be willing to pay this. The only way I can do that is if I know the actual condition. That make sense?
No, it's perfect.
So I don't. I'm not, I am not. I have had buyers offer to our commission. That's not my job. My job is to get my buyer the best. Now, if they absolutely just love this for sale, but I have to have a conversation with the seller. I understand that you want the commission. So don't want to list the house. Probably gonna have to pay 6%. Really only looking for 3%. I'm not gonna charge you 6%. And I never will charge. I will only charge them 3%. So this 6% probably have in your head, because that's the industry's like standard. I'm only looking. So if we add 3% to the, I'm a little concerned about appraisal. I'm not gonna put my buyers or you in a position after we've been under contract for 3 weeks and then this. If I understand the seller's motivation and they're like, hey, Florida or Texas by August 15th. Contacted you about your timeline. Florida, August 15th. Well, if this doesn't appraise and we don't close on time, you're not gonna be in Florida August. So is the money more important to you or is your end goal? We need to be in Florida the 15th, or is that just something we want? So is it more important to you to have this home sold, pay out the 3% and get to Florida, or do you want to sit and wait? Or go under contract and then it fall apart and our time has been wasted? Because now they're paying me to negotiate for them. Like I said, I never tell them I'm gonna ever negotiate against them. I do not like that method. It's slimy. And I know that some agents do use it. That is totally fine. It's just not my way. So if they question like, well, hey, you told us 3%. Well, I can't work for free. And here's the deal. If we only list this for 3% and I put it on the MLS, I take 1% and the buyer agent takes 2%. Buyer's agents ain't gonna show your house, because they're gonna go show something else and make more money. So that's only gonna do you more harm than it is good. So we really need to get 6%. That kind of help handle that?
Yeah, yeah.
I do try to get as much clarity on numbers beforehand as possible. So I do try to get as much of that out of the way without getting too detailed. I have sellers that are penny. Right. No, it's for the most part, sellers are fairly easygoing about the numbers.
In 2010 and 2000.
Yep, exactly. I get these sellers that they are so like, I know what they paid for this house and they're walking away with over 300 grand. So like I had to clarify in detail. Repair costs could end up being, what closing costs were going to be, what commission. All the title company got exactly what the tax prorations would be. Very analytical. Some of them are. College, she is very educated. I had to really be on my A game. I effectively communicated I wasn't wrong. I am, yes, I am a big picture type person. Details overwhelm me. I'm going to a listing appointment and I know that I am competing other agent. Here's the deal. I also want to be the last agent they meet with. Well, hey, I'm meeting with two other agents before you. No. Hey, I will come there at the last. That way I can effectively, communicate. I don't want to be in a rush. Let me come at the end. Last agent in always wins. If I go in and I have the paperwork in hand, they say that I want to think about it, because they all do. Well, do you want to think about it because it's a no? Or do you want to think about it because I haven't answered something? Or I didn't mention something that I forgot to that another agent did? What am I missing? Section. Does that make sense? Sometimes I ask that question to make sure I'm effectively communicating what I'm saying. Are we good on time?
Yeah, you're good. I was checking.
Script practice. Okay, anybody else want to cold call me? Or I could. Here, how about I cold call? How about I cold call you?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds
Oh,
like
yeah.
fun. It is fun.
Run me through the ringer.
All right, I'll try. I'm rusty. I mean, my name's Sabrina, but I'm rusty.
That's funny. Now, what scenario do you want?
I'll just be myself. Like
Okay.
I'm not a real estate agent, like single mom, got a house to sell. For sale by owner in it. Real smart. Know everything already. Don't need your help.
Okay, perfect. Hello, Sabrina. This is Austin. How are you?
I'm good. I'm busy. How are you doing?
Oh, good. Hey, I totally understand that you're busy. I just need a couple seconds really quick. I noticed that you've got a house for sale on 123 Holiday Lane. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Do you have any offers at this time?
No.
Don't. Have you had any activity?
Yeah, I've had a little bit. I'm looking for the right buyer,
What is the right buyer to you?
the one that's going to pay me the most.
Right. Exactly. So I know that you're listed at 145 right now.
Right.
Do you feel that's the most that your house is worth?
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
How did you come up with that number, Sabrina?
Oh, a Zillow.
Was that the Zestimate?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting because 2 streets over, there's a house that's very comparable to yours. Now, I will not say this if it's not true, but interesting because 2 streets over, there's a house that's fairly comparable to yours that I noticed sold back 60 days ago for 155. You're $10,000 cheaper. Why are you undercutting yourself?
Well, I just, think that maybe you had, more updates than mine did.
Uh-huh. Zillow, pulls these prices based
I'm real
off.
busy. I mean, I got buyer calls coming in and I got somebody on the other line trying to call me right now. That might be the person
It's
that's buying the
probably
house.
Another realtor. It's probably another realtor calling you. So
Right.
if you're busy right now, here's what I would love to do. I think your house might be worth a little bit more than what we've got at market or what you've got it marketed at. To be able to validate that, I just want to swing by for 5 minutes. I know you're busy. It doesn't have to be today. It can be tomorrow. It can even be next week.
I'm holding it open, Sunday from 2 to 4, like all the real estate agents do.
Perfect. Could I come by at 1:30, just a little bit earlier? That way I'm not in any of the buyers' ways that come by.
Yes.
Okay. I'll be there at 1:30. I will leave before the 2 o'clock showings start, and I'll get out of your way. And if you've got any questions afterwards, just give me a call, but I'll see you on Sunday at 1:30. Does that work?
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Perfect.
I wasn't hard enough on you. Hey, they're not that nice sometimes. And I'm not that nice when people like the Google ads call you all the time. I'm like, I gotta go buy.
That's- like I said, if somebody will hang up on me like that, I send a text. Yeah. No, absolutely. I send a text.
That's a good idea.
Go ahead. Yes. Yes and no. It depends on the personality type. Most of them think they're going to do the work. Most of them have to experience failure before they realize that they can't do all of it. But they think they can, so let them think they can. I mean, we don't want to make them feel stupid. We have to give them the opportunity to fail. But it's important to make that contact first, because if you don't, somebody else will. That makes sense? Okay. Of course.
Well, it's not coming up, but literally the person that got me into real estate like 13 years ago, because I'm back to the essentials today, everybody. I'm not new. Just motivating myself here. Anyway, she's like, well, and she was a real estate agent and a really good one a long time ago. And they have a really badass house that they're going to sell. And I know they're going to sell it, and they're going to sell it with a really old realtor that sells nothing and does nothing, and probably not do as good of a job financially on it. I just feel like that's what I'm approaching, but I'm trying to figure out the angle. But she said to me this, she said, well, Sabrina, it's not really that hard to sell a house right now. And all these agents are just making so much money. She's like, and I'm like, I wanted to be like, you were a real estate agent and you were a single mom at one point. What would you say to that person that said that to you? Because you're like, oh, how did I just get like, I just got like shanked by the best. She's right. She knows we are making money.
So-
Sometimes it is easy. Sometimes it's really hard though. And I'm like,
Sometimes it is really easy. When somebody like that, if I'm having a conversation with somebody like that and they're like, I've known this other agent for so long, and I'm just going to have them list it because they're going to cut me a deal, and I know that we can get it sold. I totally understand that they can get it sold for you. There's no doubt that anybody can put a sign in the yard, put it on the MLS, and pray that it's going to sell. I understand completely. I mean, I would want to save money too, especially in this price point. I get it. So here's something that I would like to present. Because if somebody is in, obviously they've got a badass house, it's probably a higher end listing. They have done well for themselves, so they're educated. Here's an option that I want to present to you. You've known this other agent for how long? No, the seller that knows this other agent that's not
Oh.
listed.
45 years.
Okay. So you've developed a close relationship with them. You've known them for 45 years. You really want, do what? Oh, I knit with them. If this is, somebody that you've known for 45 years, you probably don't want them in your financials, your personal. What I would be willing to do, I'd be willing to pay them a commission, a referral fee. That way they don't feel like they're getting cut out of the deal, but they're also not going to be in your personal finances, because I know that I don't want any of my personal friends to know what I owe on my house, what I have to pay off, what my credit scores are. Guys, there's a lot of, as you know, you were an agent. There's a lot of personal information that comes out during a real estate. And I assume you want to keep that information as private as possible, right? Let me pay your. Well, if Bonnie knows everything and you feel comfortable with that. If Bonnie's gonna do it for
I don't know if that's true.
1.5% and
I'm just assuming.
no, you're good. You're good. If she's gonna do it for 1.5% and she's willing to come down that low right off the bat, I can probably assure you she's not gonna be up to negotiate as hard as I would be, because she's willing to drop down to 1.5% that quick. I value what I'm gonna do for you, and I know that I'm gonna get you the most amount. At 1.5%, I can't effectively market and show
Oh,
this
now my
product.
house is worth $450,000. 1.5% is going to pay you just fine.
You're right. At $450,000, 1.5%, we're looking at $6,750. But if we put it at 1.5%, we're going to have to cut the buy side commission too, and that's going to hurt us. Buyers agents aren't going to show this house if they're getting paid less. Want to put you guys at fault for your home not selling? Or do we want to put this in the most effective of marketing strategies that we possibly can? And the only way we can do that is if we're at a full commission. I understand you want to save the money, but you said you need to be here and have this sold by this time. That this was your end goal. Only way we're going to make sure this end goal is met is if we try these options. I'm not going to stand in the way of this deal from closing. And if my commission dollars end up coming to a point where we can't get this thing to close and all the numbers are agreed upon, then we'll figure something out. But I guarantee you, I'm going to put the most amount of money that I can out of my own pocket first. If I don't sell your house, I'm out the money. That's my money. I'm going to work as hard for you as I can because I'm going to have at least $2,500 out of my own pocket. Yeah, I got to recoup that, but I'm also not going to stand in the way of this deal.
I have something to say with that.
Go.
So, what are two of the things that kind of spoke to you guys about what he was saying? There's two words that are coming to mind. And I know if you're in coaching, you guys know that we talk about it a lot. There's one that starts with a K. There's one that starts with a V. Value. Yep, that's one of them. What's the other one? What was he saying about, knowing the buy side and knowing that they're gonna have to cut that? What? Knowledge. That's it. So value and knowledge. And we also kind of say like knowing the market, because knowing the market makes you knowledgeable. But then that's how you're going to win those clients, is by adding that extra value and knowing your market. So then that way you can do that. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that,
No,
but
you're good. You're absolutely right.
pops up to me like.
Absolutely right. I mean, the biggest listing I've ever taken, I have it under contract right now. We listed at 875. I was competing with agents that agreed to do it for 1%. And I did write the contract at 3%. Unfortunately, this has been a very sticky deal. And I have had to make an adjustment on my commission to make this work. I would not have been able to make it work. And they know that now, had I not taken it at 3% originally. So I always tell people, I know my value and I know what I can provide for you. I have to be at this 3%. I'm not going to stand in the way of this deal, but if we get down to the nitty gritty and our numbers don't work, we'll figure it out. But I know what I can provide and I know what we can achieve. I mean, I won against other agents that were doing it for 1% and 1.5%. People will respect you more if you stand up for your pay than if you just cower down and get it.
$100,000 more than it was a year ago. So let's talk about who's winning here. You're a seller. Not very many people are very dumb in this market. And if they are, they're getting really taken advantage of by the wrong people occasionally.
Right.
So, you know, like, yeah, I'm making 3% and it is good money. And you also talked to me like go whenever it wasn't worth that much. And I told you the truth, don't list it.
Yep.
And I didn't try to sell it that year. So that's old agent talking there. Sorry. You guys can't use that.
No, it's true. I mean, sellers, there are a lot of sellers that they are trying to be as cheap as they can right now because the market's up so much. It is.
I feel so not sorry.
No, I get it. I don't either. I don't feel sorry for all of the builders either that are complaining about building prices. I saw the settlement statement for one of them that closed the other day.
Yeah, somehow they were building just like 5 years ago houses for like 105,000 are now worth like 175.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm sorry, but the prices of building have not went up $75,000 since these little 322s were being built then. They've increased a lot, but
It is crazy. Yeah. It is a different building market right now, for sure. We're definitely not in reality with some. We didn't get to lead gen.
So with Ignite, what you should be doing is 10 contacts a day. So calling, Facebook messaging, texting, whatever, and putting those 10 contacts into your command. If you've come to my class, then you know how to put contacts into command if you're new, or if you've kind of figured it out on your own, great. So those are the biggest things. And I will say this, if you guys come to 80% of the classes, then you get the opportunity to get a free yard sign. So that's what we did for the first 2 sessions, and that's what we'll do for these 2 sessions too. If you do watch a recording, you have to let me know that you watched it, and I would prefer it to be in the first couple of days that it's happened, but definitely before the end of the 2 weeks. So if you tell me 2 weeks from or 3 weeks from now, it won't count. So if you did miss a class and you want to watch a recording, that's fine. If you are online, I do my best to grab it and to grab your name. But if by chance I miss it, please just send me an email and I'll go back and check all of it, okay? Cool. Any other last questions for Austin?
You guys get something out of this? I
This
wanna
is
make-
Austin's first time teaching.
I've taught photographers, but never real
Yes.
estate agents.
Yeah, his first time teaching a KW class. And you'll notice that there's a lot of first time KW teachers that I've grabbed for these Ignite sessions because they have done so well. So
Reach out to me anytime. You guys ever have questions? Not at 10:30 at night or like 4 o'clock in the morning. Unless you're drunk and you need a ride home. I might come get you then.
you can talk real estate in my car.
We'll stop and get Taco Bell on the way. Tacos and real estate. It doesn't get better. All righty. Good deal.
And just remember, print out, if you want to print out your daily stuff, that's fine. I know it kind of helps to have it if you want to. Kirk is a great example. He printed all of it out and he found it. We do have binding machines up front. Yep, it's $1. Very nicely done by Ashley or myself.
Absolutely. You too. Thanks.